Hey everyone, by popular demand, here is my long overdue review for Wonder Woman. In this video I will first give an account of the general expectations I had going in, what I liked about the movie, what I didn't like, my take on James Cameron's recent comments about the movie, and finally, why this review was such a long time in the making. In the States, Wonder Woman is an icon. She is part of the Trinity, someone who has always been there, and a character everyone knows, at the very least superficially. Internationally, on the other hand, with the exception of a few territories around the world, Wonder Woman has traditionally been a completely and utterly unknown commodity prior to the release of this very movie. When Batman v Superman opened here in the Nordic, for instance, the local geek audience, of which I am part, obviously knew who she was, but the reaction to her reveal on screen from casual moviegoers wasn't so much "Wonder Woman is in this, awesome!" as "Is that Cena?" Even I couldn't tell you the first thing about Wonder Woman beyond what she looked like up until a few years ago, when a couple of friends from the IMDb saw fit to educate me on the matter, and thus fill in that most glaring hole in my general genre knowledge. Thanks to that, I've since come to know and appreciate what Wonder Woman stands for and what she means, but I am not a fan per se. As such, I walked into the movie not as a fan of the comic, but as a fan of film, and obviously, as someone who had been following the development of the movie with interest for some time. And to get that out of the way, just because I report on the problems Warner have with their DC Extended Universe does not mean I want them to fail. On the contrary, I want them to succeed and thrive. After reporting that Wonder Woman was a mess, but a salvageable mess in the winter of 2016, I was sincerely hopeful that director Patty Jenkins and the new producers from DC Entertainment indeed had been able to salvage the movie between the reshoots and feats of editing. Had they? By and large, yes, I think they did manage to salvage the movie, because I genuinely enjoyed it. I put it on about the same level as the first Thor or the first modern Captain America. Meaning, not up with the best of comic book movies, not by a long shot, but a good time nonetheless, and a movie that does what it needs to do. In my opinion, it doesn't quite deserve the most lavish praise which hails it as the second coming, and I tend to think a lot of the most enthusiastic response it has been getting just might have something to do with the desire to see a female-led superhero movie succeed, as well as the desire to see DC on film succeed. But I am happy for its success. DC really needed that vitamin boost. Gal Gadot was perfectly serviceable as Wonder Woman, and with the help of an excellent supporting cast, most notably Chris Pine, she made the role come to life.
What are you?
You will soon find out.
I didn't really have any major issues with the movie per se, other than the whole concept of a god of war with all that implies, which I think is pretty darn stupid. I will give them that they found a good way to handle a concept I have issues with though, and this is where Chris Pine really shined. Another thing that took me out of the movie was the visual effect when Dr. Maru gave Ludendorff that drug. I've heard fan speculation that this is intended to be the venom that eventually will power Bane. But I still felt its inclusion and handling took away from the movie. Overall though, Wonder Woman was just a win DC needed. I enjoyed it more than both Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman put together, although I do think I still prefer Man of Steel to it. I'm really happy about its amazing box office, and excited to see Wonder Woman get a bigger part in the Joss Whedon retrofitted Justice League. In a lengthy August 24th interview with The Guardian, James Cameron covered a lot of different topics ranging from the Terminator to his career to his life and interests. Towards the end, after praising him for invariably putting genuinely tough female characters at the heart of his movies, journalist Hadley Freeman asked Cameron what he made of the excitement over Wonder Woman. Like all the other questions he had been asked, Cameron answered this one honestly and said, "All of the self-congratulatory back-patting Hollywood's been doing over Wonder Woman has been so misguided. She's an objectified icon, and it's just male Hollywood doing the same old thing." I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, but to me, it's a step backwards. Sarah Connor was not a beauty icon. She was strong, she was troubled, she was a terrible mother. And she earned the respect of the audience through pure grit. And to me, the benefit of characters like Sarah is so obvious. I mean, half the audience is female. After this comment, he expressed his bewilderment why there were so few movies featuring tough women given how many female producers there are. Before moving on to the tough women of his past and current relationships. None of this mattered, of course, for how dare he say that about Wonder Woman, a movie it has been decreed is without flaw and that everyone must love. Cameron got a lot of flack for providing his honest opinion when asked for it. And considering he is the director behind both Sarah Connor and Ripley in her finest hour, then maybe the critics should at the very least read the interview in its entirety before shaming him, resorting to name-calling, and generally assigning him attitudes about gender and opinions about the movie he never actually expressed. Because that is the thing, his comment is actually more so about the self-congratulatory male Hollywood than Wonder Woman, which seems to have gone over most people's heads. Patty Jenkins could either have chosen to remain silent here, or even come across as the bigger person with a more reflected response. But instead, she chose to chime in with the lynch mob, which I honestly think is very disappointing. As for his comments, I do see the point he's trying to make. Sarah Connor is more of a realistic person, of flesh and blood, with very human flaws, who still shows an incredible amount of grit, guts and determination through it all. The point where I disagree with him is that Wonder Woman, an ideal, is a step back. Would he begrudge girls their Wonder Woman just because she's a larger-than-life ideal? If you flip that around, that would be like denying boys and men their Superman, just because he is a larger-than-life ideal too. For men, Sarah Connor's contemporary Al Bundy is probably the more realistic ideal, because he is a blue-collar worker with a mortgage to pay and a wife and kids that don't appreciate him, yet he endures and carries on, showing up for work, doing his best by his family, paying his taxes, and continuing to face every new day. But realistic as he may be, Bundy isn't the one that's going to inspire you at the point in your life when you need someone to inspire you, and neither is Sarah Connor. Just as there should be room for both Al Bundy and Superman, there should be room for both Sarah Connor and Wonder Woman. A lot of people have asked for this review, and maybe I should have done one sooner. After all, I did review both Batman v Superman and Guardians of the Galaxy prior to their US release, and The Mummy on the weekend of its US release. But as the more perceptive of you might have picked up on, I am neither from nor based in the US, meaning my access to movies is determined by the local release schedule, not the US release schedule. My philosophy is that I'll only do a review if I can have it out over the course of its opening weekend in the US, as I feel that after that, my review is no longer relevant, and I'd rather spend the resources that would have been tied up on a review on another mini-documentary or an editorial. As such, I didn't review Wonder Woman for the same reason I didn't review Star Trek Beyond, Doctor Strange, Suicide Squad, or even Ghostbusters when it first opened in theaters, due to a staggered international release schedule. I did not get to see any of them until everyone and their mother in the US already had. I might have made a mistake in the case of Wonder Woman though, because a lot of people still requested my review, so better late than never, I guess. Let me know what you thought about the movie, and if you'd like more shorter reviews like this, and if so, of which movies, in the comments.
If you like this video, then please hit that subscribe button. Due to recent changes by YouTube, we'd also like to ask all of our subscribers to please hit that bell icon. That way you'll be notified when new content is uploaded. If you enjoy our content, then please consider supporting this channel through Patreon. As thanks, patrons will receive early access to mini documentaries, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, special Lost episodes, and more. Please join us for more spin-free news and analysis of your favorite genre movies, as well as backgrounds and context of your favorite characters, and roundtable discussions here at Midnight's Edge After Dark.